Right, this is Under Nine Sky and Deadly Northern Lights and Thin Red Line Games. I am going to call this a day. And the reason I'm calling it a day is several reasons. The uh, the game actually simulates World War III in Central Europe and Scandinavia. One, it's too much. It's just too many pieces, and it's going to take. It's taking longer to fight than as a board game than it would be in reality because there's too much going on. It's very in depth, and it can get very fiddly because a single unit moving could trigger loads of air attacks, helicopter attacks, loads of stuff. Just uh, So I'm overwhelmed with it. Its fiddliness is, and I'm not playing it in full fiddly mode. I'm not playing it with detail supply. It's mechanically fiddly. Uh, Another thing, I think it reflects modern warfare. It's in modern warfare, late 1980s warfare. In the fact that the attrition on aeroplanes, helicopters, and surface ships is staggering, but there's not that same level of attrition going on the ground. Uh, Effectively, if you decide to take a retreat rather than stand your ground, you don't get any losses. If you stand your ground and you get a negative or a D result on the table, you will lose steps. And particularly if you're fighting, say, brigades, fighting divisions, you'll lose badly. But you've always got the option to retreat. So I don't know. It just doesn't gel with me that you can be doing all this fighting in a modern war with all these armored vehicles and all these tons of missiles and stuff, and you just take the option to retreat, and you're not getting any real damage. Admittedly, you can't keep retreating. Eventually, you're going to get to a point where you're going to have to stand and fight. The theatre doesn't give them a lot of room to do that, I suppose. Yeah, I just don't know. That didn't gel well with me. I'm certain this would be a great game opposed. There's quite a lot of stuff in here which isn't really suitable for playing solo, particularly the air war and the naval war to a degree, because there's like hidden information. You're not supposed to know what your enemy's going to put up in terms of interceptors, escorts, ground attacks, what the composition of fleets, the various sectors in the fleet. So it's not a particularly brilliant solo game. Its solo ability comes from the fact it's so complicated that it's difficult to sort of have a real feel for control in a certain area. You're not sure what's going to happen, even if you've got potentially overwhelming force. Bad die rolls can easily stall an offensive, so it's got that going for it. No, I think the smaller scenarios would work out really well. Deadly Northern Lights might be an interesting game to play solo because it's much more restricted. And the only problem with it, it's got an enormous map footprint, and it's got a weird map footprint as well because of the way Scandinavia goes north and curves sort of around to the east. So it'd be a difficult difficult game to table. So that's really all I can say on it. One thing I do say, if you're going to play this together, the two games together, you've got to be sure which versions of the games you're playing, and you've got to get hold of a totally different rule book an actual mutually assured destruction PDF that actually covers the two games you're trying to bring together. And even then, I wasn't totally convinced that the two games were meshing together. There were areas where I was thinking, well, why is this one unit's been taken out of the game, but this one isn't? You know, and I wasn't sure that it was totally correct in terms of a combined game. Okay, and anything else really? No, I'm going to try something with a lot less counters next. It's going to be big, which you'll see, and it's something I've played before. And when I played it before, I had just terrible luck with the weather. It was in the game. It was raining all the time. Virtually every single turn, it was raining, and it just scuppered the entire game because of the rivers and everything. Anyway, enough of that. That's my opinion on this game. I would sum it up and say, yes, it's a good game, but you've got to be aware of certain factors. And I think it were playing on the smaller scenarios opposed, or on the bigger scenarios with a few players, it would be a good game. But it's not been a good fit for me.